Hi. Let me tell you Belitung Journal's policy. Let's begin with focus and scope. BNJ is a refereed international publication that provides a venue for the nursing scholarship with an Asian focus and perspectives from the region. BNJ aims to highlight evidences on nursing science, nursing management, nursing and healthcare policy, nursing education, and nursing practice in the Asian communities worldwide to a broad international audience. BNJ welcomes submissions of original research, review article, theory and concept development, perspectives, letter to editors, methodology papers, study protocols, philosophy papers, case studies, and guest editorials. BNJ also welcomes negative results, for example, studies which do not support a hypothesized difference or association, as long as the study design was robust. Nurses and midwives write most papers in BNJ, but there are no constraints for other healthcare professionals on authorship as long as articles fit with the expressed aims and scopes, especially for implications for nursing science or nursing practice. BNJ is fully owned, sponsored and funded by Belitung Raya Foundation Indonesia, a nonprofit organization focusing on education, health, information technology, and social and empowerment of the community. BNJ has been accredited by the Ministry of Science, Research, Technology and Higher Education of Indonesia. And it is currently indexed in Scopus, Web of Science, DOAJ, Ovid MCare, EBSCO, and other products. Belitung Nursing Journal is a gold open access journal, conforming fully to the Budapest Open Access Initiative and DOAJ Open Access definition. By open access to this literature, we mean its free availability on the public internet, permitting any users to read, download, copy, distribute, print, search, or link to the full texts of these articles, crawl them for indexing, pass them as data to software, or use them for any other lawful purpose, without financial, legal, or technical barriers other than those inseparable from gaining access to the Internet itself. All articles published in BNJ are fully open access under the terms of a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial CC by NC 4.0, which allows others to remix, tweak, and build upon the work non-commercially as long as the original work is properly cited. For non-commercial use, you do not need to seek permission from BNJ for reuse. The copyright of most articles remains with the authors, who have chosen to make the articles available for reuse under the Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial CC by NC 4.0. All BNJ articles use a non-commercial license where the use of published articles for commercial purposes is prohibited. Commercial purposes include: first, copying or downloading of articles, or linking to such articles for further redistribution, sale, or licensing. Second, copying, downloading, or posting by a site or service that incorporates advertising with such content. Fourth, use of article content, other than normal quotations with appropriate citation, by for-profit organizations for promotional purposes. And use for the purposes of monetary reward by means of sale, resale, license, loan, transfer, or other form of commercial exploitation such as marketing products. If you wish to reuse your own article, or an amended version of it, in a new publication of which you are the author, editor or co-editor, prior permission is not required, with the usual acknowledgements. Teaching institutions may make multiple copies for teaching purposes, without charge, provided such copies are not resold or copied.
Now we move to deposit or self-archiving policy. Authors are free to deposit the preprint, post-print and publisher's version, PDF to their institution's repositories or personal websites. However, attribution must be made. Doing so protects the integrity and authenticity of the scientific record. Additionally, BNJ's deposit policy is registered with Sherpa, Romeo.
Now we move to journal archiving policy. BNJ is included in the Public Knowledge Project Private Network, PKPPN, a distributed archiving system that creates permanent archives of the journal for purposes of preservation and restoration. And for publication ethics, BNJ is a supporter of the recommendations for the conduct, reporting, editing and publication of scholarly work in medical journals, issued by the International Committee for Medical Journal Editors, ICMJE, and to the Committee on Publication Ethics, COPE, Code of Conduct for Editors. Our guidelines should be read in conjunction with this broader guidance.
For peer review policy, BNJ operates a double-blind review process with a minimum of 2 independent reviewers to assess the paper quality. Double-blind review means the identities of the authors are concealed from the reviewers, and vice versa.
Additionally, there are 6 stages in the editorial process: editorial review stage, peer review stage, editorial decision stage, copy editing stage, proofreading and layout editing stage, and publishing stage. All processes typically take 2 to 4 months for screening. B&J is a member of Crosscheck's Plagiarism Detection Initiative and takes seriously all cases of publication misconduct. B&J screens each article 2 times, during submission and after revision.
In addition, applying a crossmark logo is a B&J's commitment to maintain the content published and alert readers to changes if and when they occur. Crossmark from Crossref provides a way to locate the authoritative version of a document. 4 categories of amendments are relevant for peer-reviewed material: erratum or publisher correction, corrigendum or author correction, retraction or addendum. All 4 correction types are bidirectionally linked to the original published paper. For genuine withdrawal, the corresponding author should submit a request signed by all co-authors explaining the reason. However, if the author withdraws the manuscript any time after review and acceptance, a withdrawal fee has to be paid.
For advertising policy, all advertisements and commercially sponsored publications are independent from editorial decisions. B&J does not endorse any product or service marked as an advertisement or promoted by a sponsor in B&J publications. B&J will not accept advertising for products or services harmful to health, or, if they relate to content of a personal, racial, ethnic, sexual orientation, or religious nature. B&J will not allow any treatment-specific or drug-specific campaign to be targeted to a specific articles or pages. B&J also reserves the right to decline any advertising type damaging to the B&J brand.
For cookie policy, B&J uses 3 cookies, namely OJSSID, Google Analytics, and AddThis. Note that OJSSID cookie is necessary in order to log in to the OJS platform.
B&J supports the OAI metadata harvesting protocol. Through this method, B&J enables citation indexes, scientific search engines, and scholarly databases to gather metadata and make our publications available to a broader academic audience. Authors submitting research article to B&J are encouraged to deposit research data during submission or in a relevant data repository and link to this dataset in their article. If not possible, authors are encouraged to make a statement. Sharing your data help you get credit for your work. Please also note that the names and email addresses entered in B&J will be used exclusively for the stated purposes of this journal and will not be made available for any other purpose or to any other party.
Now, let's move to authors' duties, and this is very important to note. Authors will submit only entirely original works, and will appropriately cite or quote the work and/or words of others. Publications that have been influential in determining the nature of the reported work should also be cited. Papers describing essentially the same research should not be published in more than one journal. Authors should not submit a published manuscript in another journal. Submission of a manuscript concurrently to more than one journal is unethical behavior. Each author should meet authorship criteria, such as contributions to conception, design, data acquisition, or analysis. Drafted or revised the manuscript. And approved the paper final version. All authors should include a statement disclosing any financial or other substantive conflicts of interest that may be construed to influence the results or interpretation of their manuscript. All sources of financial support for the project should be disclosed. When an author discovers a significant error or inaccuracy in their own published work, it is the author's obligation to promptly notify the journal editor or publisher and to cooperate with them to retract or correct the paper in form of an erratum or a corrigendum. If the work involves products or procedures with any unusual hazards, the authors must clearly state it. If the work involves animals or human, the authors must state that the appropriate institutional committees has approved them. Authors are obliged to participate in the peer review process and cooperate fully by responding promptly to editors' requests. In the case of a decision of revisions required, authors should respond to the reviewer's comments point by point and in a timely manner.
Now move to reviewers' responsibilities. It should be noted that any manuscripts received for review must be treated as confidential documents. They must not be disclosed to or discussed with others except as authorized by the editor. Any selected referee who feels unqualified to review the research reported in a manuscript or knows that its prompt review will be impossible should immediately notify the editors and decline the invitation to review so that alternative reviewers can be contacted. Reviews should be conducted objectively and observations formulated clearly with supporting arguments so that authors can use them for improving the manuscript. Personal criticism of the authors is inappropriate. Reviewers should identify relevant published work that has not been cited by the authors. A reviewer should also notify the editors of any substantial similarity or overlap between the manuscript under consideration and any other manuscript of which they have personal knowledge. Privileged information obtained through peer review must be kept confidential and not used for personal advantage. Reviewers should not consider manuscripts in which they have conflicts of interest resulting from competitive, collaborative, or other relationships with the papers. In addition, B&J is a member of Reviewer Credits. Completing the peer review will qualify you to the third-party certification provided by this organization and assign you credits which may be used on Reviewer Credits online store. Now let's move to publication frequency and article processing charge. B&J publishes 1 volume per year, with 6 issues per volume. The issues are usually published on February, April, June, August, October, and December. The APC is $395. There is no waiver policy for this charge. Adjustments in B&J's APC are under regular review and are subject to change according to market conditions, competitive considerations, and others.
Now let's take a look at the submission checklist in B&J. Please pay attention before the submission. Authors confirm that the submission has not been previously published, and is not being concurrently submitted elsewhere, specifically in other journals, except in the form of abstract or as part of a published lecture or academic thesis or as an electronic preprint. Authors confirm that a main text and a title page are uploaded separately. There are no authors' names and affiliations in the main text, and all files are in Word doc format. Copyright form is not required. Authors confirm that the main text is following a correct layout: 1 column, double space, A4 size, Times New Roman, and font 11. Please ensure that the main text is not following a layout format of the published articles. Authors confirm that the main text and title page are written in English, not in Indonesian language or any other languages. Authors undersigned hereby give Belitung Raya Foundation the rights as publisher, the right of first publication of all published material. It will be licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial CC by NC 4.0.
Now pay attention to the detail of title page. This must include title of the manuscript, names, spelled out in full, of all the authors, and the institutions with which they are affiliated. It also includes corresponding authors' details, declaration of conflicting interest, funding, acknowledgement, authors' contributions, authors' biographies, data availability statement, and ethical consideration. And for main text, please use a reporting guideline from Equator Network or NLM's research reporting guidelines and initiatives. There should be no authors' names, affiliations, and related works for double-blind review. To sum up, B&J has been awarded the DOAJ seal. This important award means that B&J has achieved a high level of openness, best practices, and high publishing standards according to DOAJ's compliance conditions. Thank you for watching. We look forward to your submission of future manuscripts to Belitung Nursing Journal.